What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the rePORTER Show, man, where we talk all things Wayland sports and give you guys a weekly wrap-up of everything going on. As always, I'm your host, Justin Porter, and I got my co-host with me today. On my left, I got Devin Acosta, and on my right, I got Josh Tucker. We got a lot of good things going on for y'all this week. Got some interviews, was able to sit down and talk with a couple players, one player really. But I hope you guys sit down and tune in to this one because it's going to be a pretty good one, man. I'm going to go ahead and let Tuck take away the first subject of men's basketball.
Yeah, man. This is the Dallas-Fort Worth area this weekend. We had two games, one against UNT Dallas, other against SAGU. We ended up splitting, winning one and losing one. Probably should have won both of them, but, you know, I'd rather go 1-1 than go 0-2, obviously. So I'll get into the first one against UNT Dallas, which is a team that we beat pretty good the first time at home. They're a team that had nothing to play for. They're already out of the conference tournament, no shot at the national tournament, which is honestly the dangerous thing about them because, you know, they don't care. They ain't got nothing to lose. They're just trying to just knock us off. Yeah. And to be honest, I think we kind of came out with the mentality we were just going to go out, roll the balls out and just beat them. And we started off bad. They actually led by 6 at one point in the first half. D-Mike and Kale started to get it going. I believe we went into the half maybe up 4 or 5. Got it up the second half, up 12 early. I mean, like 17 minutes left in the second half, we were up 12. And then from there, they just started getting energy out of nowhere. I mean, they started hitting shots, started pressuring the ball real well. Refs were letting them play, so they got a couple steals, and fans started coming out of nowhere, getting loud, and so they got a lot of energy. They battled back, and we ended up 3 with, I want to say 5 or 6 seconds left. Yeah. And they had the ball, and so they inbounded it, got a 3 off, didn't score. So we ended up leaving with a 78-75 win. But, man, it was not easy. I'm going to say that. It wasn't easy. They don't have their own gym. So it kind of feels like a summer league AAU type game. And that's the thing that you don't like about it because they play in a rec center, so it's like, it's just a weird feel in that gym, man. Yeah, and they actually had quite a few fans show up towards the end of the game, so it got loud in there, but it was just a weird feel. And I mean, there's so much space behind the goals, and you feel like you're just at a summer league game. But we just had to go out there and win. Kel finished with 24. He was 11 for 13 from the field, 9 boards. Taj had 14. Q had 12, and D-Mike finished with 11. So it was just kind of a scary game because we had everything to lose. And they had nothing to lose. Yeah, exactly. So
I noticed that, man. When you was talking about how they came out of nowhere. I mean, we was up 52-36. Yeah. At a certain point in that second half, man. And I was like, all right, I'm gonna tune off of that one. You know what I'm saying? I put my phone down, stopped checking it. Yeah. I came back to the game. We won by 3 points. I said, hold up, man. What y'all did?
And it's UNT Dallas. Like you don't expect.
You don't expect that at all.
You expect that 12-point lead or whatever to grow into 20.
Grow, yeah.
Get it to 20-30. Yeah. I mean, they got players, and honestly, I think they're a well-coached team. I mean, the 2 years I've been at Wayland, they haven't been a conference tournament type team. But, I mean, any team in their own gym with nothing to play for and a little bit of energy, man, you can't count any college basketball team out. So they battled for sure.
Absolutely. Go ahead and take me into that next one, Tuck, against SAGU.
Next one was at SAGU, a big-time game. They're a national. I think they're top 25. If they're not, they're receiving votes. For sure, a national tournament team, and we were actually tied for 3rd in conference. So this game had a lot of national tournament implications on it. We jumped out 8-0, had all the momentum in the world. D-Mike had a perfect first half, 6 for 6 from the field. They went on a run the last 5 minutes of the first half, tied at 33 apiece, and they went on a run, and we were down 47-39 at half. And then second half, man, they kept the momentum. They got us down by 17 at one point, and man, we still battled back. Ended up losing, playing kind of the foul game. Ended up losing by like, I want to see 7-8 points, I believe. Man, SAGU's a hard place to play at. I mean, it's a fun environment, don't get me wrong, but I mean, their students show up just like ours, and it was their senior night, so it was even more of the reason for the people to come, and winner got 3rd, and so it was a big time game, and we just didn't get it done. I wouldn't even consider this a positive, but watching film yesterday, it was like, man, we didn't play our brand of basketball by any means, and still had a chance to win. Like, we still battled, had a chance to win, so that's the one good thing you can kind of take away from it, is because, you know, we played our C game against a great team and had a chance to win. But, I mean, end of the day, we lost, and now we're 4th in conference. So it kind of is what it is. But Q tried to put us on his back second half. He ended up with 23. D-Mike had 22. Brett had 14. Mikhail had 12, and Taj had 10. So, I mean, our offense obviously wasn't the problem. Just defense, we weren't there.
Yeah.
That's all it was.
I mean, it's funny that you say that, talking about film and you guys getting away from your style of play. Coach had something to say about that as well. So let's listen in on what Coach had to say about what it's going to take for you guys to come away from that and come out with a conference win in a tournament.
Effort's got to be there. And I thought that's something that we lacked on Saturday. And, that starts at the top, starts with me. You got to have consistent effort to have any chance. Skill-wise, you're not always going to make shots. But things that you can always give is consistency with your effort. Yeah. And so that's what we talk about. If we want to make a run and get to Kansas City, we're going to have to win a game when our shots aren't falling. Can we do that? And it starts with being consistent on our day-to-day approach and giving effort, no matter the circumstance.
And that's all you had to say. Well, it's a longer interview, so if you guys wanted to check out the full interview, it'll be on our YouTube page on WBU Athletics. But I found it interesting that what he said about that is what it takes is winning the games when you're not hitting shots. Yeah. That's a big thing because you're not always going to be able to have your best game. But are you still going to be able to pull out the win? Who knows? We'll see that as they face off against USAO this Thursday and opening up the conference tournament. Let's go ahead and take it to women's basketball. Deb, I'm going to let you go ahead and take that one away from me.
Man, women's basketball, Dallas-Fort Worth area, same as the men's, obviously, against UNT Dallas and SAGU. The UNT Dallas game, I mean, complete blowout, man. It was 83-27, and UNT Dallas had 10 points in the first quarter, and that's the most that they had in a quarter of the entire game. 0 points at all in the fourth quarter with 31 turnovers. I mean, that's got to be like demoralizing to a team. You know what I mean? Like, we just went in there and completely handled business. Wiped the floor with them. But I mean, it's what you expect, especially with a team like we have. I mean, Linda going for 21, Bobby for 20. And Megan doing her thing like she always does on a consistent basis. I mean, she had 17 and 19. It's not the usual 20-20.
Yeah, but it's still up there.
Yes, bro. Like I mean, just completely running away with that game, man.
Yeah, no, that was definitely one of those games where you watch it and it's like, all right, we already know what's going down. And it was sort of like the same thing with men's, but they flipped the script a little bit there at the end. But, I mean, we knew going into that game that, this is the game we should win. And they handled their business. They did what they were supposed to do. And, especially being the last week of the regular season, that's what you want. Because going into conference tournament, you don't want to go into the conference tournament with a rough loss or a bad performance because you got to build back up your self-esteem, you know what I'm saying, for the whole team to really get back into that place where, like, we're going into this tournament like we them girls, you know what I'm saying? We're going to go ahead and win, and everybody should expect that from us. But go ahead and take me to the SAGU game, man.
Man, that SAGU game, I mean, you're coming in from that UNT Dallas game and obviously kind of you up there for sure, and that's not how they played. They did not play with that momentum, with that same energy. I mean, shooting percentage-wise, 25% from field and 12% from three. I mean, I feel like a part of our Queens brand of basketball is live or die by the three, which most of the time we do live. But I mean, shooting 12% from three, that's not going to win you basketball games, especially against a good team like SAGU. I think it was very disappointing almost to see that from them. Like, we have high expectations for them, and I mean, they just didn't live up to that. I mean, you can't score, you can't win, man. I mean, and they went into the half down 13. And it kept going worse from there. I mean, Megan did her thing with 22 and 22. She played her brand of basketball like she always does, but like I said, with that 12% three-point percentage, I think that
takes it away.
That tells the story.
That takes it away, man.
It's confidence, it's a mental thing, it's energy, bro. And that all plays into it, especially against SAGU.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Those type of games, I mean, it's their senior night. They're all hyped up, obviously, as they should be. They played. SAGU's girls, I thought, played a pretty good game, but when we can't throw a rock in the ocean, man, for a team that shoots as much as we do, it's going to be hard for us to win when we shoot 12%. I mean, I don't expect the girls ever to shoot that low of a percentage again, but, I mean, unfortunately they did, and they ended up losing by 20 points. So
it sucks going into
exactly what I just said, because you coming off of that win, you thinking, all right, we good, and then you come into the next game and you get 20 pieces before the tournament. You know what I'm saying? Against a team that you're going to end up playing again. that's really hard mentally, because even though you know this is a team that you can beat because you already did it, you know that they just gave you a 20-piece. And so what I will say though is we are 13-1 at home, and we're of course hosting that first round of the conference tournament against SAGU. So they're gonna come into our house, and it's a little different when y'all play us here.
It is.
So hopefully they can take that away and keep it going. This is what Coach had to say about what's needed going into the conference tournament.
We need Linda and Emily as our juniors that are playing big minutes to play at a different level. Their mind has to be locked in at a different level so that they can lead these younger players, you know, across the finish line here. I think that's the biggest thing we got to have, is we got to have our older players step up and lead and dive for the ball and, you know, do all those extra little things that, you know, some of these younger and experienced players don't know that they have to do that. You know, they haven't experienced it yet. So I think that's huge for us Thursday.
That was something that I didn't really recognize how young the team was.
Yeah,
I think they only had 2 or 3 upperclassmen out of the whole roster. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for them to do what they did this year and still compete at a really high level and still be able to put themselves in a position to host, and still put themselves in a position to maybe get an at-large bid if we don't win the tournament, that's really big. If you guys wanted to check out the rest of that interview, it's also on our YouTube page. You can check that out at any time. It'll be up very soon. But that's all we have for the women's and men's basketball. They ended the regular season last week on those 2 games, and we will see what happens this Thursday with women's at 6 against SAGU and men's at 8 against USAO. So, of course, conference tournament. This ain't no regular game, you know what I'm saying? This is a game where should nobody else be on campus but in the gym. You know what I'm saying? I know y'all seen that crowd for the girls' high school playoff game.
I need it like that.
I need y'all to
like
come and
that.
pack it out, you know what I'm saying? But let's go ahead and jump into that next subject, man. We're going to go ahead and get into baseball. Baseball was against, hold on now, I didn't write it down on my list. Oh, goodness, that's all right, though. I think we was playing Adams State. We was playing Adams State, which is a D2 team, and it's a team that honestly, they haven't really gave us much competition the past couple years. I think we split with them before in the years that I was playing, but most of the time we're 3 to their 1, or maybe even a sweep. They even though they're D2, they not that good. You know what I'm saying? They just not like that. But in that first game, man, they jumped out on us early. And it was 0-5 after the first couple of innings, man. They put down a lot of hits and they got things going. And I was looking around at my guys and I was thinking to myself, this ain't good. You know, we've been talking about them being able to play their game and being able to come out and start early. And we ended up on the other end of that. But what I will say is that we never give up because we know how the game of baseball goes. It don't take but 1 inning for something to go break down and something crazy to happen. Samuel had a solo shot the next inning. Delvis had an RBI double. Then Felix drove him in with a 2-run home run to make it 4-6. So there we go, back in the game already. We tied the game after a costly error that allowed 2 runs, a couple knocks to make it 7-7. And the top of the 7th, after it was tied and after a home run and 2 just really bad, timely errors, they ended up taking the lead 7-9 going into that last inning. And Felix would go on to hit a home run in the bottom 7th, but that just wasn't enough. And it was one of those situations where Hayden, which is our shortstop, was coming off of an injury. He hadn't played all season, and so this I think is the fourth series or the 5th, one of those. And they put him in at second, I guess, to sort of just warm him up, you know, get him back into it. My thinking was, if you're going to put him in the game, you might as well put him at his spot.
Man,
you know what I'm saying?
Jump straight into it.
Just let him get into it, and if he got it, he got it.
Yeah.
And it's one of those situations where the guy that we did have at shortstop, Delvis, he's a good fielder, and there's nothing against him, but in that scenario, probably 2 plays that Hato probably makes, and we get out of that game to win.
What do you play third?
He normally plays third.
Yeah.
He can play anywhere on the field, but he normally does play third base. And, you know, he was playing short that game. And, you know, he had some 2 tough plays to make, and he just didn't make them. And it really hurt us there at the end of the game. But that's all right because game 2, we came out with a win 3-2. It was a really good baseball game. There was no errors. There was very good defensive plays. Their first baseman had a lot of honestly game-saving plays early on where we thought we were going to take the lead. He dives down the line, makes a play, gets the out, and we're like, well, dang, okay, never mind. Potts, sack pitcher of the week.
Tough Potts.
You know what I'm saying? 132 pitches. First of all, my goodness, buddy, is your arm still on?
Yeah,
you know what I'm
bro.
saying? That's ridiculous.
Come on,
132 pitches through 7 innings. He gave up 2 runs on 5 hits, 2 walks, and 12 Ks. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was walking back to the dugout. He got himself out of the jam early in the second with bases loaded. He had a really good performance. This was a game where you can't ask for much else from a pitcher to put you in the best position to win the game. Bottom 7, we were down 1-2. Samuel led off with a double to left field, and Gustavo had a base knock. They ended up on 2nd and 3rd. Then Cooper Giles came up to the plate. You know what I'm saying? And he had the walk-off 2 RBI single to center field, which was a 12-pitch AB. Ridiculous. That's one of them.
Yeah,
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? You're just fighting until you
that
get what you
tension is
need.
there.
Yeah,
Oh my
bro.
God.
Yeah, you gotta be mentally there to hit something like that.
Yeah.
12 pitches, man.
Yeah.
Golly.
Walk-off too?
Yeah, the walk-off.
tough.
That's
Yeah.
tough.
The pressure on you at that moment, bro.
Yeah, man.
Gotta have it. And so that's a big shout out to you, Cooper. Way to end that game on a win, man, 3-2. Went to the next game. We ended up losing that one 9-12. It was a decent start by Vargas, Wellington. But eventually, he got himself into some trouble in the 3rd after a couple walks, some key hits by Adam State. One of those games where, I just didn't expect him to come out and start the game the way that happened. It was a little shaky. They got off quick. They got a run there. They got some runners on base. We got the outs, but then they came out in the 3rd inning and they just started putting up runs, man. They put up a 6 spot to go up 3-7 in the 3rd inning, I believe. Top of the 7 though, we tied at 7-7. They put up a 5 spot. And then it started off with an error between the first baseman and the pitcher, and honestly, it just all went downhill from there. Going into that inning tied, it's a lot of pressure. You know what I'm saying? You want to make the perfect play every single time. You got your guy in, and you're like, all right, we're going to go into this one. We're going to come out tied. We're going to go in the bottom 7. We're going to win the game. But that just didn't happen. They made some errors. Ended up falling behind after that. 12-7. We came back, put up 2 runs, but asking for a 5 spot in the last inning is tough.
Yeah, it's not going.
It's just probably not going to happen all the time.
That's a lot to ask for.
Notable players in that game, though, Samuel was 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs, 2 home runs in that game. Hato was 2 for 4 with an RBI. JJ was 2 for 5 with an RBI. BP and Memo were 2 for 4. So we were hitting.
Yeah, I say they're hitting the ball well.
Yeah.
9 points. I feel like in most cases is enough to win you a baseball game.
It is.
Yeah.
You should win that game.
You score 9 runs, you should win the game.
Yeah, and it's one of those scenarios where, I say we should be sweeping teams and we end up giving them wins. And these was 2 of those games right there. Let's go into the last one so we can go ahead and wrap this one up. This one was another offensive battle. We only had 1 inning where both teams didn't score. They had 13 hits with 3 home runs, one of them being a grand slam, I believe. We had 11 hits. And Cooper tied it up for us in the 3rd after a 2 RBI single to left field, so he's keeping his heroics going. Made it 6-6. We took the lead in the 5th after Cooper and JJ teamed up with a couple knocks. They drove in 2 runs, and then a wild pitch put us up 10-9. We made 2 errors again at the top of the 7th to make it 10-10. Man, it's just like when we get down to that last inning, I'm not gonna say we choke, but we get real tight.
we do.
We get real
We're not
tight.
finishing the job
Yeah.
at all.
When it comes down to the end of the game, man, it's just like lock in, baby. We got to have these plays, and we got to make them. But it was all right, though, because we went in, and it was still 10-10. We still had a chance to win the game in the bottom 7th. And Cooper walked. Riley ran for him. He stole 2nd, and then he restarted on a throwing error from the catcher. And then JJ came up to the plate. Nice. That's Jan Roland Jr. They call him JJ, so I'm gonna call him JJ. He came up to the plate, dropped down a squeeze bunt to win. The crazy thing about that was they had 5 infielders. I'm gonna wrap this one up quick so we can go to the next one. But they had 5 infielders. For those of y'all that don't understand baseball, there's only 4 infielders. All right. So that means that they brought in an outfielder to come into the infield so they could fill up the infield, and they only had 2 outfielders to defend the game-winning run. You don't see a lot of shifts like that in baseball. That's pretty wild and crazy. It was pretty cool to see, bold. Honestly. it's a bold move. But the thing is, the reason why they do that is because if they hit it in the outfield, they're going to win anyway. So you might as well put all you can have in the infield, make the play. But he dropped down the squeeze, which is perfect. They got a guy coming in already from 3rd. All he has to do is lay down the bunt. It ain't even got to be perfect. We ended up winning that game 11-10. So that was beautiful. And I wish we could give more commentary on that, but we got to keep it going. Next subject was softball. Now, softball, I won't lie, they ran into a powerhouse at USAO, 6th-ranked team in the nation. that's a really tough way to open up conference.
Especially for a new program.
Yeah.
Man, that's
New program, it's like you want to warm yourself up. But I guess that's what the preseason games are for. You know, you got your non-conference games. You got to warm yourself up. But dang, I mean, USAO is they no joke. They never been a joke.
Yes.
They've been to the World Series a couple of times, and I think they went just last year. So they coming off of a season where they probably got some returnees and they still doing what they do.
make noise every year.
Yeah. Game 1, we got no hit. We ended up losing that game 0-11. And for a pitcher to not get one hit off of him in the game is pretty absurd.
Is that what it's called? Perfect game?
Yes, perfect. Well, a perfect game means it was no hit and no errors. I think they had one error.
One error, okay.
But it was a no hit, and that's still exceptional in the game of baseball and softball. She had 13 Ks and she faced 15 batters. So that means we only put the ball in play twice. It was, I mean, like I said, they a juggernaut.
Yeah.
I will not lie, they are a juggernaut. I wish it wasn't that bad the way that it ended up, but it was. It ended up that way the rest of the weekend. Game 2, we lost 2-8. Jenna got us going in the first after driving in the one with the single up the middle. Dang. I'm sorry for y'all that's watching that. I tried to hold it in. I tried to hold it in. Listen, I'm sorry. I tried to hold it in, but I couldn't do it.
Come on, man.
But the rest of the game was pretty dry for us after that, man. I mean, we didn't strike out much, but we didn't get much going either. We had no walks, couple errors. USAO, they just hit very well. You can't. I don't know, man. When you play a team like that, it's either you compete with them or you don't.
Yeah.
You know, there's no in between. If they have a bad game, they're still probably gonna play really good ball because they're a team that's the top team in the nation. You know what I'm saying? When they're the top 5 or top 10 team in the nation, you're not gonna go in there and even be able to compete with them if you don't bring your
Yeah,
best.
especially if you don't even play your best.
Yeah.
I mean,
You know what I'm saying?
It's no secret. They're ranked top 10
Yeah.
for a reason.
They are.
They can play.
You can't go in there half doing things. And we had some unclean games. We had 5 errors and 1 of them 4 errors and 1, and I think 3 in the other 2. Now 3 errors ain't bad, but typically you try to play a perfect game. You try to have games where you only make 1 or 2 errors on the field, and that'll put you in the best position to win the game. But we just didn't do that, man. In game 3, we lost that one 0-10, 5 errors. Like I said, didn't play a lot of clean ball, played a good team. So we got to come to play. I mean, we got 1 hit this game as well with 10 Ks. It was another situation like the first game. Then game 4, we lost that one 0-12. It was the same ordeal. We only had 1 hit, and they kept the bats going. Can't ask for nothing else other than we got to hit.
Yeah.
Got to hit. Because
If you want to compete with a team like that, you have to.
Yeah.
I feel like, I mean, obviously I didn't watch it, but I mean, based off of this, was it like intimidated type of thing? Like, do we just not show up to play, or are they just that good?
I don't know. I will say that they are that good. I won't lie. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's not like I'm, oh my gosh, USAO. But I mean, let's be real. When a good team is good, they're good. I mean, when y'all play Langston, y'all know they're good, but that don't mean, we're scared of them, but they're good. So I wouldn't say that they were scared. I don't think that anybody is necessarily scared because I think that they compete. I think that maybe they could have been overwhelmed. That could have been a situation. Maybe this is the first time they've seen a pitcher that dominant and they didn't know how to adjust to it. Maybe it could have been a situation where the strike zone was a little bigger than they thought it would be. It could be any number of things. It was one of those games where all you could see is the stats and it looks like it was just straight domination. It could have been different if we saw it and been able to make the calls off of that, but we just lost.
Yeah. And
Hopefully. Go ahead.
I think it just tells us a lot about where we are as a program, and that's no disrespect to Coach Villa or any of the girls, but this is our first year ever in the SAC for softball, and this is a team that consistently is either 1 or 2 in the SAC, and they consistently go to the national, the World Series. Yeah, I mean, so this is just maybe this tells us about ourselves, and that can be the good thing we can take away from it because we're a brand new program. They have people with national tournament experience, so and that's all it is.
Yeah, and I'll end it with this. Like you said, we are a new team. It takes time. I don't think anybody ever expects you to come out here and sweep the conference your first year. It just doesn't happen. If it did happen, that'd be beautiful, but let's be real. I mean, it takes time to build a team, and it takes time to build a team that also has, they can play well together. You know what I'm saying? It takes a while for a team to build that goodness, what's the word I'm looking for?
Cohesiveness.
That ain't the word I was looking for, but that's a big word. That's a big word.
I got the vocab, bro. I got the vocab, bro.
But yeah, man, that's it takes a while, and so that was a rough one to see, but they do have more coming up, so hopefully they can move forward from that. Let's go into the next subject, man. We got women's wrestling. They had the SAC championships this past weekend. We had one lady get runner-up at the SAC championships, and that was Ottilie Cruz at 101, who normally dominates, so I was honestly surprised she didn't win at all, but it's all right. Sometimes you don't. But besides that, we had 5 national qualifiers, 5 of them. Ottilie Cruz, of course, at 101, Jonisha Kennedy at 116, Kaylani Guillermo at 136, Mahogany Castle at 170, and Peyton Schulander at 191. This was a game, not a game, my goodness, my fault. I don't mean to disrespect y'all, this was a match. You know what I'm saying? This was a tournament. A match in a tournament that they went into, and I'm pretty sure they went into it thinking that they would come out on top at least a couple of times, and we didn't. But to have 5 girls still go to the national tournament is still really good. It is something to be proud of, because the thing is, even though we didn't win the conference tournament, that don't mean you can't have a little run in the national tournament. You know what I'm saying?
Run, and what matters a little bit more than conference, honestly.
It definitely does. And so sometimes, even without winning the conference tournament, I know that sucks, but even without winning the conference tournament, you can still go out and show yourself and be proud of yourself at the end of the season, because you still got a national tournament, which we all know is way bigger than the conference tournament. So props to y'all 5 for making the national tournament. I wish y'all the best. I pray that y'all can go out there and compete at y'all best ability and come back, no injuries, and come back with a little gold, a little hardware, maybe a little silver. I'll take some silver. I'll take some bronze.
Anything in the national tournament. You can't complain
hardware
about
is hardware. You know what I'm saying?
Anything in the national tournament.
Exactly. If you come back with that, then you might be certified. It's not a guarantee. But if you come back with some hardware at the national tournament, it might be a guarantee.
That's guaranteed. That's guaranteed.
So, last subject we got, man, is golf. Women's golf are at Houston, Victoria for the Claude Jacobs Invitational at the beginning of this week, so we'll wrap them up on the next show. But I want to get into men's golf, because they did exactly what we predicted that they would do. They went adding to the TPC San Antonio Invitational, and they took it all. A team win for them to start off the spring. That's a good way to start it off as a 6th ranked team in the nation. You gotta put your name out there and let them know we ain't 6th ranked for no reason. We like that.
A little higher.
Yeah, for real. I think we should be top 3. But anywho, we don't get into all that. We were 15 strokes ahead of the rest of the field after round 1. 15 plus strokes. That means second place was 15 strokes behind us. The rest of them was who knows how far behind. And Benjamin Luckwell was a big part of that. He showed out. He scored an eagle 3 times. For those of y'all that don't know what an eagle is in golf, that means you shot 2 under par on those particular holes. Shooting 2 under par is ridiculously good.
It's not easy at all. I don't know if you guys know anything about golf. That is not easy at all.
I'm a 2 over par type of dude.
You ain't 2 over par. You probably 10 over par. But no, man, he was a dog this tournament, man. Along with that, he shot 3 under par in round 1, 3 under par in round 2, and 1 over par in round 3 to round out shooting 5 under par over the entire tournament. He talked with us for a quick second about what his thought process is as he goes throughout the tournament. So let's check that out.
I mean, if you shoot under par, it's always good.
Yeah.
But I mean, if the course is really tough, if you shoot even or 1 over, it might be a good score. But I try not to think too much about it. I just try to stay in the process and then get the most out of it at the end,
So like, I'm assuming since you say that, you don't even think about where you're at really when you're shooting. You're just shooting it and making sure you're doing exactly what you need to be doing.
Yeah, I try not to look at the leaderboard, and I try to just focus on myself. And if that means I win, great. And if that means I don't win, that's okay too. But it's a process of getting better and spending the time and spending your energy in the right place.
Buddy had a very great interview. If y'all want to check out the rest of that, it'll be on YouTube. But I like what he said there at the end of that, where it says it's about where you put your energy and where you put your thought process. And I think that's really big, man, because for some people, let's say you don't start off that round on your best foot. If you're just thinking about how you started that round, you might not compete the rest of the way. You know what I'm saying? But for him to say it that way and put it that way, that was really nice to hear. So y'all go check that man out. He has some really good things for that
The
interview.
voice of a man who locked in.
You know what I'm saying?
He locked in.
I
Man.
need to start practicing with him, bro. I got to get my golf game on.
Ain't no,
Yeah,
ain't no helping you, bro. I ain't like, there's no saving your golf game.
For real, man. Hey, hold on though. Let's go ahead and let's get back on our subject. Round 2, we had the third best score in round 2, but because of round 1, we were still at the top of the leaderboards. We were so far ahead, leading the pack. 7+ strokes ahead. Round 3, we were tied for the third best score in round 3, but of course we still stayed out in front and ended up winning the tournament with a team score of 753, shooting 7 strokes better than second place. So everybody else was farther behind than that. So of course, if you perform like that, my boy, ain't nobody competing with you. You certified this week, you know what I'm saying? Certified player of the week, athlete of the week, whatever you want to call it. That boy certified. So big.
After that interview, man, that was that interview alone might have did it for him, man.
So Benjamin Luck, a big shout out to you, and big shout out to the golf team for winning the first tournament of the spring, man. I hope you guys continue that on. We got top 5 players of the week. We got 2 of those. We got the walk-off, of course, from baseball, Cooper Giles, and walk-off from baseball again, Jam, Roland Jr., JJ for short. And if y'all want some other top 5 plays before we post this on social media, you got to send them in. If you ain't sending them in, I'm only posting the 2 that I got. You know what I'm saying? I can't watch all the games. I can watch the games that I'm at, and I pick up from there. So if y'all got something.
Yeah, Jax had a nice little putback inside. I'm going to send it to you. I'm going to send it to you.
To me, man.
That's a good
I
play.
got to have the plays, and I got to have them soon because I'm trying to post it so y'all can see everything that's going on. The upcoming games that we got, Wednesday, softball versus Dallas Christian at 2-4. This is a home game on a Wednesday. We don't have a lot of games on Wednesdays. I know y'all ain't doing nothing else because what we doing on Wednesday? We're going to chapel, and that's it. For those of y'all that ain't going to chapel, you ain't doing nothing else. So go ahead and check out the game. Go ahead and check out the games at 2-4. You know where it is. Softball fields behind the wire. Thursday, we got women's basketball versus SAGU at 6, like I said earlier, and men's basketball versus USAO once again. Come on, man. It's conference tournament. You got to show out.
If you ain't got no games all year, this the one to go to.
This the one to go to. I mean, even if you don't want to come to watch the game, put on a fit. It's going to be a lot of people there. Maybe you want to come in there and look good.
It's going to be some girls that put a nice little fit on, man. Maybe, you know what I'm saying? Maybe see if you can at least look good, man.
You know what
show
I'm
up
saying?
and show love, man.
Yeah, bro. And Friday, we got baseball, home matchup against Central Christian at 2-5. They should sweep these boys. If they don't sweep these boys, don't go to no more games, all right?
That's crazy.
I'm just playing. Y'all know I love y'all boys, man. They got first home matchup in the conference tournament, Central Christian at 2-5 on Friday, and on Saturday they got that 1-9 in the game starting at 12 p.m. man. So that's a lot of home games throughout the rest of this week. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Y'all got a lot of things to do. Come out.
There's a lot of Wayland sports to watch this week, man. Y'all ain't got to travel. You right here in our own backyard, man.
Support and show out.
That's
all it is to it, man.
Facts.
But that was a great show. I love that we added some new things, and I hope that y'all enjoyed it just as much as we do doing it for y'all. All right, we got the same thing coming up next week, and we'll see y'all then.